What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Welcome to your second stimulus check update, third stimulus check update, stimulus package update, and news report for Wednesday, January 27th. Now, yesterday we got multiple reports saying that we could see 3 different stimulus packages coming this next week. Well, all this is true. We essentially could, but there's another report from House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer. And I want to bring you this update because this is huge and it gives us a breakdown of the timeline that the House is expected to follow. First, Steny Hoyer gave us insights here, and he said yesterday that the House is going to be canceling their recess in early March. So this is good. The House is already saying that they are going to cancel their House recess so that they can stay and work. The problem here, which gives us a little bit, reading between the lines, giving us some insights, that means the House is expected to not pass anything until possibly in March, right? Well, he also went on to say that the House plans to work on the budget reconciliation within committees until February 15th. It's January 27th. So we have a little over 2 weeks. Right now, what we are hearing from Steny Hoyer is also in the week of February 22nd, they will take the budget out of the committees and vote on them. But wait, here's the big thing that he said. And this is one of the reasons why they are currently canceling their recess in March. Steny Hoyer stated that they will vote on these things during the first 2 weeks of March. Yes, let that sink in. So today is January 27th. They are working this budget reconciliation within the committees. They're going to do this until February 15th. Then the week after February 15th, February 22nd, that week, they will pull these out of committees and vote on them. But not until the first couple weeks of March. Okay. So yes, they're seriously going to work on the budget reconciliation package for the next 6 to 7 weeks. And this is what I've been saying for the past couple of weeks. If we do a budget reconciliation, it's good we only need 51 votes. The problem is it's messier and it's more time consuming. And when I say time consuming, I'm not saying it's going to take, 2 to 3 months. I'm saying it has to go to these committees and get done there. The committees have to do it. They have to do the work, which makes it a bigger process. And then they put all the stuff together and then they vote on it. Again, it's just messy and it's more work. So we're going to see them work on this for the next 6 to 7 weeks. But President Biden, he had something to say regarding this process yesterday, and this is something that you need to hear. He said, and I quote, "The decision to use reconciliation will depend upon how these negotiations go. I don't expect we'll know whether we have an agreement on to what extent the entire package will be able to pass or not pass until we get right down to the very end of this process, which will probably be in a couple of weeks." So, here's what you need to understand by what he just said. First off, he doesn't know how the negotiations are going to go. He's trying to negotiate with Republicans. He's calling them on the phone personally, which is making this very difficult for Democrats because they want to just slam this through with a budget reconciliation. But President Biden wants to do the negotiation first, and then we will move forward with the budget reconciliation depending on how these negotiations go. So, don't expect to hear that we are narrowing the gap. We're getting closer. What you need to understand is when you hear that Republicans have approved, that's going to be the day that pretty much everybody learns Republicans have approved. We're not going to really narrow the gap. We might get a little closer, but we're not going to see a bunch of reports saying that the gap is narrowing like Nancy Pelosi said last time, that we are getting closer. You're not going to hear that. Because they're going to go from, no, we do not approve, to, okay, let's do it. That's where we're going to go. And it should happen quickly. But when I say quickly, I'm talking about Congress's quickly, which is about 2 to 3 weeks. Now, this is why getting a bipartisan stimulus package agreement at this point is so important. Without a bipartisan stimulus package with Republicans, this is going to take months. And the American people can't wait. That's the issue. The American people need relief now. But don't be discouraged just yet, because yesterday President Biden spoke with the Problem Solvers Caucus, and they mentioned that they don't want to see the 51-vote nuclear option, the budget reconciliation. They don't want to see this used. They would rather go with the 60-vote majority, because right now they are saying that using a 51-vote, the nuclear vote option, the problem with that is it does make it very difficult to negotiate anything else in the future. And this is what lawmakers are worried about, not just this stimulus package, but what about the next package? If we need another stimulus package, what about the infrastructure bill? What about all these other bills coming down the pipeline that we know are going to be there? What about those? We need to not only look at this bill, but look at the future bills as well. And I get it. Many people do not care about the future. They need help now. But that's the issue. That's what the Problem Solvers Caucus is looking at. That we need to provide relief now as quickly as possible, but at the same time, not alienate us and not make things very difficult for when we go and negotiate the next package. Because if we do that, Republicans are just going to be like, no, we're not gonna bend over for you again, because that's exactly what we did the last time. They're not going to do that. So right now, the Problem Solvers Caucus is saying that they need to tread lightly. They need to get something done quickly, and they need to provide for the American people. They also stated that the consensus among lawmakers is that this entire bill is not targeted enough. So they're saying that the entire bill is not targeted, not just stimulus checks. So this is where multiple reports are now indicating that the Problem Solvers Caucus is preferring to lower the individual and family income limit. This is something that I believe Joe Manchin stated a couple weeks ago as well, is that he was not in complete support of this bill. We also heard from other senators as well, but he's been very vocal. So here's what the reports are currently saying. Multiple reports say that it could be for individuals making less than or under $37,500 and families making less than $75,000. This is pretty much cutting the previous income limit in half, which is going to create more and more issues. Okay? Let me know what your thoughts are on this down in the comment section below. Another report suggests that individuals making $50,000 and families making over $78,000 don't actually spend their stimulus checks as quickly as those that are currently making less. It states that only $45, roughly $45 of the $600 stimulus checks got spent within the first month. So that's big. That is a very big statement. So this report also goes on to say that if we provide an additional $200 billion in spending for the $1,400 stimulus check, well, that will only lead to about $15 billion in additional spending. So Congress is going to look at this as we spend $200 billion, we get about $15 billion in spending back. Or, and this is with the stimulus check, or we provide more money for unemployment, we provide more money to states, provide more money to schools, we provide more money to other things outside of a stimulus check. And that could potentially lead to more spending. So they're currently looking into that. It's because of this that many reports indicate that lawmakers would prefer the stimulus checks only go to those that were negatively impacted by this pandemic. And that's big. That statement right there is huge. And here's the reason why. The issue with this is in order for them to do this, they will have to wait until the 2020 federal income taxes are filed. We cannot even, at this point, it's January 27th. We cannot even file our federal income taxes until February 12th. That is the new start date for the IRS. So, what I can tell you is the other option for lawmakers in Congress right now is to go off the 2019 federal income taxes, but this doesn't say anything about who was negatively impacted due to this pandemic. So, here's what we're hearing. We could see people that are on unemployment get an additional boost, or were on unemployment get a boost or get a check based on how many weeks they were on unemployment. Now that's just one idea that people are throwing out there. Do I think this is a good idea? Absolutely not. I don't think this is a good idea. But the other option is to wait until the 2020 federal income taxes are filed. And then IRS will know, okay, you and your family only made $38,000. The majority of that was from unemployment. All right, you get a stimulus check, a full $1,400 stimulus check for you, your family, and all your kids. Okay, great. Problem is that we don't have to file taxes, or we can't file until February 12th. We don't have to file until April 15th, and then some people even get an extension. Okay, well, what happens then? Do they just not get a stimulus check? Are people going to start talking more and more about we are only going to give a stimulus check to those that go and get a vaccine? Okay, well, what about the expectant mothers? What about people that cannot go and get this vaccine? What about them? Do they not get a stimulus check? So that's the big issue. Right now, they're trying to work out all these kinks, all these different details, but then we go into if currently lawmakers prefer that the stimulus checks only go to those that were negatively impacted by this pandemic, how do we qualify people that are going to receive and are eligible for this stimulus check? How do we do that? It has to be based on income tax. And in order to do that, we have to wait for the new income taxes to arrive, to be filed, to be approved. That takes time. And the American people do not have time. So, what I can tell you is that this will most likely lead to another mess, another negotiation, and this mess could seriously last another couple of months, if not more. What we do know is that lawmakers want to make everything more targeted, not just the stimulus check. This includes, for example, providing the unemployed with larger weekly boosts. Like I stated just a little bit ago, when you provide somebody that is on unemployment with a weekly boost, in addition to their state unemployment benefits, which are roughly like 50 to 60% of what they normally make, their weekly wages. The issue with this, and the good thing is that the people on unemployment will most likely spend the money faster simply because they need this money. They will put food on the table, keep a roof over their head, pay their car payment, all those things. Great. But they're also saying we also need to provide states that lost the most funds. They need more relief. And here's the issue. Just because a state lost funds does not mean they were not profitable. Just because a state lost funds does not mean they didn't recoup those funds over the last few months. And this is what Republicans are saying, is that yes, California, New York, they may have struggled early on, and I get it. But Republicans are saying that some have made more. Some cities, some states have made more money during this pandemic than they have before it. So they should not receive any funds. And that's going to become a bigger and bigger issue. Many governors are going to be extremely upset by what happens here. The growing consensus at this point is that providing relief to those that were the most negatively impacted with the return of the economy coming back. Okay, again, this is what we're hearing. Right now, lawmakers are trying to do everything they possibly can to make things fair, but at the same time, fair is going to be thrown out the window when it comes to targeting the people that were negatively impacted. So, if you don't get paid much, right? Let's say you lost hours at work, you went on unemployment, you got a little bit for unemployment, now you owe back rent, you can't put food on the table, there's all these things happening, right? What they're currently saying is that they want to provide for all these people, but at the same time, they want to try to, kind of wrangle in the numbers and make things smaller so that they can provide stimulus to everybody. Another more blanket approach. Again, right now, lawmakers are just pretty much beside themselves. They can't figure out the best way to move forward. And the problem with this is that being that lawmakers can't figure out the best way to move forward, the American people are kind of stuck in limbo like, well, what do we do? Do we just sit here twiddling our thumbs trying to get work again? Because there's nothing out there for us. So what do we do? Some are arguing that if we provide larger weekly boosts to those on unemployment, that it will only hinder their ability and desire to get back to work. That's what some are saying. That's what some lawmakers are currently saying. that we cannot provide a larger weekly boost because that will only hinder their ability and desire to get back to work. Now, if you are on unemployment, let me know down in the comment section below. Are you offended by what they just said? That by giving you a larger boost, going from $300 to $400, that's going to hinder your ability and desire to get back to work. Let me know if you're offended. Honestly, I think that's somewhat offensive. That just because you're making an additional $100, that's going to hinder your ability to do any work? I don't think so. But that's what some are saying. Some lawmakers are also saying that simply waiting too long to make decisions is going to hurt. And soon this stimulus package will be another round of too little, too late. I can tell you right now, it's already going to be too little, too late for millions and millions of Americans. So that is what we know right now. As I know more, I promise I'll come back and share more. Consider subscribing so I can continue to keep you updated on everything that's going on. And I'll see you guys on the next one.